Coming soon from Deadites on Deck, Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel will rock his way into your heart for birthdays, anniversaries, Christmas, or any old time. Available with or without sound. Visit deaditesondeck.com today for the hottest new plushie from Pyro Plushies, an Evil Dead Chick.
Let's go on a psycho road trip with the films of Pete Walker, schizos and sleazos, stalk and slash. Get into the RV for the best and bloodiest road trip ever. Take a walk into darkness, dip into the secrets behind some of the best slashers ever made. Let's go on a psycho road trip with the films of Pete Walker, schizos and sleazos, stalk and slash.
Howdy, gang. I don't know if I'll have anybody tonight, and once again, I must apologize for the delay. I fully intended this to be at least by 9 o'clock. However, I got stuck working late again. The last 2 days have just been kind of nightmarish at work. And I had a bunch of meetings today, and I won't continue to bore y'all with my tales of woe at work. But in any event, it put me so far behind that it was 6:30 before I got off from work. And then, of course, I had to eat and had to respond to people that had sent me messages. And on top of that, it really didn't affect Steve and I. But there was a plane crash at the Louisville airport. Apparently, a UPS plane. I don't know if it hit a building when it was trying to take off or what happened, but Steve did show me some video that, just a regular person, I think, had filmed, where it showed the airplane kind of moving down the runway on fire, and then the whole front of the plane just exploded. So it's a situation now where Steve's not even sure he's going to be going to work tomorrow or not, because the air is so polluted by whatever, fuel or otherwise. I think they said it was a hazmat situation. So I don't know what was on the plane. Steve said the plane was headed to Hawaii. But, they're telling people to stay out of the area. They're telling people to, especially that live close to the airport, to stay inside. Don't be breathing the air because it's toxic. So, yeah, big doings in Louisville. And, I know they said injuries. But I said, Steve, the whole front end basically exploded on that plane. It looked like. I said, is the pilot dead? And he said, I don't see how the pilot could not be dead. I'm sure they'll release more information as they know it. But that's the big news in Louisville, that a plane caught on fire and exploded. They're calling it a plane crash, but the plane apparently was not in the air yet. So, yeah, that's that's what's going on in Louisville here. So I didn't have a chance to rewatch the Flesh and Blood show. But I remember enough about it that I think I can talk about it. But I did watch Die Screaming Marianne, which is the first one I'm going to talk about tonight. And I am sorry, too, that I'm starting so late because it was the poet's suggestion that I do streams, a series of streams on Pete Walker films. And I fully intend to do that. And hopefully the next one won't be as late as this one. Now, I have covered, the Flesh and Blood show on another stream. I think it was They're All Messed Up. But I don't think I've ever covered Die Screaming Marianne, so we are going to cover that first. And before I get to that, though, I do want to tell everybody, like I said, I may not have anybody watching tonight, and that's okay. But some of you may watch this on the replay. And so I just wanted to go over the ways that you can support me and the channel, and it won't cost you a dime. I appreciate all the super chats and the super stickers and people joining the channel and people joining my Patreon. All of those things I enjoy very, very much and appreciate very, very much. They all help. However, I know, especially in this day and age, that folks ain't made out of money. So I like to tell you about some free ways that you can support me and the channel and keep my channel growing. Just because I reached that 1,000 subscriber milestone doesn't mean I don't want to continue growing. Who doesn't want to continue growing as a channel, right? And trying to get better along the way. So one of the ways is by subscribing. If you've been enjoying my content, you've been kind of dancing around whether you should subscribe or not, it's never a bad time to subscribe, and it costs you nothing. And I will not be coming by your house to minister to you or try to sell you cookies and candy bars. I will fully leave you alone. You can watch as many live streams and videos as you want or as little as you want. And nobody has to know, right? It doesn't mean because you subscribe, you got to watch everything that I do, right? That's not how I roll. So you can also hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the new content I've got coming out, especially when I have to change the times on these things 2 or 3 times before I actually have them. I know that's very detrimental to the success of my channel, but sometimes, working late at my job and taking care of my household and taking care of Steve and the animals and stuff, sometimes it necessitates me having late streams and or videos. Also, hit the like button on anything you especially enjoyed. And if you like everything or love everything, hey, hit the like button across the board. It all helps. And here's one other way that you can support me in the channel. It won't cost you a dime. It won't cost anybody that you tell about the channel a dime. And that is by sharing with friends and family members that you think might enjoy the content that I'm putting out about my channel. Maybe they'll want to join as well. I'm going to do everybody a solid and put my channel handle in the chat there. And so now it's time to get to these movies. And as I said, Die Screaming Marianne is the first one. And I actually have a physical copy that has several different movies, including Die Screaming Marianne on it. I got this for free from my good friend Wes Vance, aka the Creepy Kentuckian, a few years back. He gave this to me at a convention. And I'm very appreciative of it because I've always been a big fan of Pete Walker's films. So Die Screaming Marianne it's listed as a horror, but I don't really call it a horror film. I do call it a crime movie, a thriller, which is also listed as. It stars Susan George, Barry Evans, and Christopher Sanford. Susan George was also in Straw Dogs and a bunch of other films. So you will definitely find her very familiar. This came out in 1971. Um, so you have two sisters, one of who is Susan George, inherits some assets from their divorced parents. One receives evidence exposing a corrupt judge father. The other seeks monetary gain. And so Marianne is like the good sister, and the other blonde in the film is the bad sister, and she wants to see Marianne, played by Susan George. She wants to see her dead. So this escalates into a battle over desired possessions and leads to deadly consequences for a lot of people in this film. The film is not real bloody. There, are car crashes with explosions that kill people. People do get slashed up. One guy that I believe his name is Eli, that Marianne's particularly fond of, in fact, in love with, um, gets murdered. And he's slashed up pretty good. But there's not like, I wouldn't call this like slasher movie level blood and slashing and all that. But it's a pretty tight story, well made. I enjoyed watching it and will no doubt like to go back and watch it again. There were a fair amount of Pete Walker films that were called affectionately Pete Walker slashers. Um, but I don't feel that this is one of them. Yeah, it's a crime thriller. An enjoyable crime thriller, like I said, very well made. Pete Walker wasn't just known for slasher films. He made films like Die Screaming Marianne. He made some adult films early on. Hey, Gory Tiger, which that's not my forte. I'm not interested in adult films. And I'm more than likely not going to be covering the short films. Early in his career, he made a bunch of short films as well as the adult films. But I'm going to focus on the full length movies, in particular the slasher films, but we're going to have some ones like Die Screaming Marianne that are mixed in there as well. So I think Susan George is great in this. I'm not the hugest Susan George fan around. She's easy on the eyes and got a good figure back in 1971. Um, and like I said, she was on Straw Dogs and a bunch of other films as well. Um, but her acting ability, sometimes leaves something to be desired. But I think, you know, she has a vulnerability that works as the Marianne character, and I think her acting really works to propel this character throughout the movie. And there's some wicked ass people in here. Her sister is really wicked. I'd say almost psychotic level. And she doesn't care where Marianne lives or dies. In fact, I think she would prefer that Marianne dies because she keeps saying throughout the movie, she must die, we need to kill her. And she has a young man, Sebastian, who is helping her, who at first befriends Marianne, probably at the request of her sister, though. So they have a chance meeting. For some apparent reason, is Sebastian decides he wants to marry her, and she's like, Marianne's like, I don't really know if I love you. She loved Eli. And when Eli is killed, she's just absolutely devastated. So, pretty decent little film. I enjoyed it. Decent crime thriller. I definitely could see myself going back and rewatching this one. I'm going to give it a rating, and although I'm not going to give it 5 deadites out of 5, I do think and feel that this is deserving of at least 4 deadites out of 5, folks. So that is Die Screaming Marianne. I'm not sure if you can, I didn't really look for it anywhere else because I had a copy of it to watch, but you guys may, well, believe it or not, it is on YouTube for free. Um, there's a channel called Jallow Realm that has a copy of it. It is a little longer than some at an hour, 41 minutes or so. But yeah, nice little um, early 70s crime thriller. And I see too that several people, from various points in times, I have given reviews of this. So, if you don't necessarily want to just go by what I'm saying, and nor should you. You can check out some other reviews on YouTube and otherwise, and you can also watch it for free on YouTube right now. So, just wanted to let you know that. All right. So, the next one, of course, is one that I have seen before. I think I did it for They're All Messed Up. And that's the Flesh and Blood Show. The Flesh and Blood Show is what I would call a slasher film or a horror film from Pete Walker. But I recalled watching it back when I was doing or talking about it for the They're All Messed Up. But this is the one that has Tristan Rogers, who played Robert Scorpio from General Hospital. So this one definitely is considered a slasher. It's definitely considered horror. It's available on Tubi. So if you have the Tubi app, you can watch it for free on Tubi. So actors rehearsing a show at a mysterious seaside theater are being killed off by an unknown maniac. And apparently, if you had watched it originally, there's a 3D, the climax of the film is in 3D. I'm not going to say that there aren't some good kills in this one. I just felt like the movie was a little slow. I think that was the main issue that I had with it. But yeah, Tristan Rogers plays Tony Weller in this. I was trying to see if there were maybe some other recognizable names, but I'm not really seeing any. Somebody said that it was a decent English slasher flick that needed better direction. Now, I don't think it needed that. I just think that the pacing was a little off for Flesh and Blood Show. I mean, the atmosphere is great. The creepy seaside theater that they're all kind of holed up in is fantastic. Nothing wrong with the atmosphere. Just like I said, I think the pacing is just what is off about the Flesh and Blood Show. And I can give you a little trivia. I thought this was interesting. Jenny Hanley, who's in the film, when she refused to appear naked on screen, director Pete Walker inserted full frontal nudity using a body double, reportedly one of her co-stars, resulting in a formal complaint from Hanley's agent. To make it even worse, the double had much larger breasts than Hanley. There were 2 different releases in the UK in the early 80s of the Flesh and Blood Show. Vampix Video released the flashback scene in 3D, while the more recent Satanica video release has the flashback sequence in black and white. And I think that that is what I have seen, because I don't recall watching anything that was in 3D. Um, I mean, the running time is an hour and 36 minutes, but like I said, the pacing is so wrong, in my opinion, that it feels much longer than it actually is. Um, and every director can afford to have a bad film once in a while. And it's not a completely unwatchable film, and it's not a horrible film. It's just simply not my favorite of the Pete Walker films. And I would encourage you to, like I said, if you've got the Tubi app, you can watch it on Tubi. But as far as a rating, I'm going to give it 3 deadites, maybe 3.5 deadites out of 5, folks. Don't let that deter you from, giving this one a go. I mean, like I said, you can watch it for free on Tubi, so why not? Because, and I also urge you, folks out there, to watch it on your own. Don't simply go by what I say. Don't go by what anybody else says. I mean, you can watch all the reviews you want, but be wary that I'm not saying every reviewer does. I try not to give many or any spoilers when I talk about these films, because why ruin the film for people, right? But make up your own mind about things. It's okay to watch some reviews and kind of get a sense of what people are saying about the movie. But in the end, you have to make up your own mind about it. And some of you out there might watch this. In fact, all of you that might, after seeing me talk about it, go out and watch it and say, well, I don't know what Dana was talking about. I like this movie. Because I've had the reverse happen. People say, well, that was boring. It was dull. I didn't like it. Wasn't a very well-paced movie. And then I go and watch it and I'm like, I don't get it, right? So everybody's going to have their own individual thoughts on any film, right? Not just these films, any film. So, like I always say, I don't ever intend for these types of streams to be very long. In fact, if I must be totally honest, were it not for the interaction I have with folks sometimes on here, I would probably do these as videos, right? But I like the potential interaction that I have with people that come to my channel and watch my streams and my videos, in the hopes that, it'll pique somebody's interest. If I get off my duff and have these earlier, I'd probably have more people. But, hopefully next week, when I do the next edition of Psycho Road Trip, the films of Pete Walker, I'll be able to do it at 8 o'clock. But before I get off here, I wanted to remind you of some upcoming programming. Now, there definitely won't be any programming on Friday, I don't think, because I got stuck working a late Friday, folks. And, I don't want to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to do something and then be tired from, working that late, because that's late for me to work. I'll stay up all hours of the day and night, but I generally don't like to work late. And I consider 7, 8, 9 o'clock, I consider that late to work. So we've got a horror movie rewind for Psycho from 1960, the original Alfred Hitchcock classic, coming up tomorrow night, hopefully at 8 o'clock. Hopefully I won't have any problem doing that, because I've seen Psycho a bunch of times. It's not like I'm going to have to rewatch. I just got to get my goose and trivia down. Oh, so sorry, folks. And I'll be good to go. Thursday, we'll have another They're All Messed Up. again, hopefully starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. For the Killer Reserve 9 seats and People Toys, and the kills in each one of those, because, yeah, that's what we do on there, all messed up. Thinking ahead to November the 21st, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, will be another Evil Dead Chicks slumber party. And this is going to be a Nightmare on El Dorado Avenue slumber party. And hopefully several of you will be able to join me and watch along with the original Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984, directed by Wes Craven, and Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. And be sure to bring your stay awake pills, your coffee, or your other caffeine beverage of choice, energy drink, soda, whatever you want to have, right? So you can stay up and watch both of these movies with me, and so Freddy don't get you. And also be sure to head on over to deaditesondeck.com and check out all the new t-shirt designs that can be transferred to tote bags and mouse pads and hats and all that. I've got scented candles and blended teas. Soon, Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel Pyro plushie will be available with and without sound, folks, if all goes well with my prototype, Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel. So got a lot of stuff coming up. A lot of things that I'm excited about. Hopefully get you guys and gals excited about them. But I guess that's it from me for tonight. I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday night, folks. And if you love Ozzy as much as I do, get out there, blast some Ozzy, and try your best to live the Ozzy way. And what do I mean by that? Don't stay stuck in the past, folks. Move forward from the present into the future, and never, ever give up on your dreams. Again, have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday night, folks. And I'll see everybody next time.